Ray. What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
The Pinky and the Brain. Yes, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane. They're laboratory mice. Their genes have been spliced. They're Pinky and the Brain. Brain, 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 brain. Before each night is done, their plan will be unfurled by the dawning of the sun. They'll take over the world. They're Pinky and the Brain. Yes, Pinky and the Brain. Their twilight campaign is easy to explain. To prove their mousy worth, they'll overthrow the earth. They're Pinky and the Brain. Brain, 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 brain. Nerve!
All right, well, welcome to Fight Back. It's Friday Night Fight Back. My name is Willie Lawson. I'm the founder of Fight Back Media Group. It has been a week, hasn't it? It's been quite a week, and it's moving into the weekend, and we've seen all sorts of highs and lows. We've seen massive joy and people just beside themselves with joy and adulation, and then we've seen people distraught and on the floor in tears. We have seen the gamut of emotions about this election. You know what? It reminds me. Unfortunately, it reminds me of a sporting event. It reminds me of a championship game where both sides have given everything. They have put their guts in it. And there's only going to be one winner, and that's exactly what has happened. What has happened is that Donald Trump is now president-elect of the United States of America. Nobody, and myself included, nobody gave him any shot when he started this 2 years ago of winning the presidency, or winning the nomination, let alone winning the presidency of the United States. Nobody thought he was serious. Nobody thought that he had the juice. Nobody thought he had the ground game. Nobody thought anything, that he had a chance. You know what? And for a lot of people, the best place for them to be is to be, thought of, to be underestimated. That's the best place for a lot of people to be, because me personally, I love when people underestimate me, because you know what I do when they underestimate me? I bite the crap out of them. I show up and beat them senseless when they underestimate me, because they're never going to expect where I'm coming from. And that's exactly, I think, how the little train that could campaign. And I know that it's kind of weird to characterize the Trump campaign as a little engine that could. They didn't have a lot of professionals working for them, especially in the beginning. It was basically Trump on Twitter and Trump going to this rally and that rally. It sort of reminded me, one of the cool things about me being 56, you have stories and certain things remind you of other things. It sort of reminded me of that, of the band who didn't have a record contract, but they were a good band. But you know what they had to do? They had to travel from venue to venue to venue to venue and sell their CDs or their cassette tapes out of their car, and they sold their T-shirts out of their car in their van after the gig. They didn't have a record contract, so they just did whatever they could. They basically, and there were some bands, of course, in the 90s who said, "Hey, listen, go ahead and record our shows and tape them on your phone and let as many people hear our music as possible." So they could fill the arena in the next town, and that's kind of what the Trump campaign did. They let people broadcast their rallies on Facebook Live, and people did. Here even later on, after winning the nomination, Fight Back Media was allowed to enter the fairgrounds. As a member of the press, because what they knew was that I was going to show them in the best possible light, because they understood that I was anti-Hillary Clinton, and what was going to happen was that they needed independent press like myself basically embedded in the mainstream media. So they were the little engine that could. They went from arena to arena. And then they started filling up arenas, and they started doing 20 and 30,000 people shows, just like the little band that could. They started off with small rallies like everybody else, but then they started filling them up. And they started filling them up when nobody else was filling them up. When the other band, who was supposed to have the ground game, who was supposed to have the full backing of the party, who was supposed to have all the stuff, was barely drawing 500 people in Dade City. Just a little piece down the road in Tampa, the Trump campaign is drawing 5,000, 6,000 people on a weekday. On a Tuesday morning in Tampa, Florida. They are killing it. And of course there were the naysayers who said, well, Romney had big crowds late, but Romney's crowds were not organic. I'm telling you, Rodney's crowds were put together by the party. They were put together by those people in the organization in the state. Trump's crowds were organic. People wanted to come out and see Donald Trump. They believed in what he was saying. He was, what his message was resonating in people. They were tired of being thought of or feeling like their country was now a loser country. Their country was a country that was no longer respected around the world. That they thought that their leaders weren't respected around the world, and there were a lot of people who felt that they were actually, their opinions and their feelings and their hope and their dreams had been pushed to the side. And you know what? And when we talk about enfranchisement and disenfranchisement, we have to really consider everyone. The left always talks about disenfranchisement, especially when they're talking about minorities. But you know what? Here's the deal: if you are a person who says that we should all be enfranchised into this thing that we call the American dream, you gotta include everybody, even the people who may have had, even by their own admission, some quote advantage to start with, because of the skin color they have, or where they were born, or the family that they were born into. You know what? Northwest, the baby of Kim Kardashian, definitely has an advantage over my kid. Huge advantage over my kid. So it's, please don't, it's not all about skin color. A lot of it is about just, frankly, the luck of the draw, the spin of the wheel, who has an advantage. And it's not about skin color or race or bigotry. And it's not about racism or misogyny or any of that stuff. Sometimes, yes, some people are a little further ahead down the road and have a little bit more resources to start with, and sometimes a lot of bit more resources, because Northwest, Kim Kardashian's kid, has a lot more resources available to her than my son ever had with me. Now, I could be angry about that, and I could demand that the Kardashians pay more, that the Kardashians pay for my son's education. Make sure that he gets his college degree, and make sure he gets a great job afterwards, because they have benefited by this great thing that we call America. I guess I could call them out and say, you know what, screw your own daughter. What about my kid? What about my kid? I could, but, that would make me look like a dick. And it would be absolutely silly, wouldn't it? It would just be silly. So I'm not going to. I understand. Fair is a place that you judge pigs. That's what fair is. What you want is justice. What you want is justice. What you want is everyone to, afterwards, to be treated fairly and have an equal opportunity. There's no way to to legislate to force equal outcomes. But if you can get a situation where you can have equal opportunity, then everybody else at that point is on their own. So I'd be lying to tell you that I'm not pleased with the results. I'd also be lying to tell you that I'm not surprised. especially by the margin. When I came home, because I was at work when the returns came in, and I came home, my wife and son were watching on the television, and what I said to my wife was, well, it looks like the Donald is making a game of this early. Never thinking that it would hold up. Thinking about New York, thinking about Ohio, thinking about Pennsylvania, and then, of course, 55 electoral votes in California, 80 or so electoral votes across the western states, Washington, Oregon, California. And in some of the Four Corner states, Utah, Colorado, Nevada, I thought it was going to be tough. But as it turned out, Trump did some things that was able to accomplish some goals that no one thought he would be able to accomplish. And then it looked like, and we covered it here on this show right here, it looked like the longer it went on, the more inevitable it was that Trump could possibly win this thing. He could possibly win this thing. We were like, are you kidding me? Is this going to happen? Is this going to actually happen? Is Donald Trump going to win the presidency of the United States tonight? And it started to become more and more apparent that it was not only possible, and then it became likely, and then it became inevitable. And it was kind of funny for me watching the mainstream media not call states and wait, and not call states because they didn't want to give that air, that atmosphere of inevitability of what was actually happening, something that they never thought that would happen and never wanted and really didn't want to happen. But it was happening right in front of their faces. It was happening right in front of their faces. And they just, and frankly, if you watch any of the mainstream media coverage, they just couldn't believe it. They just couldn't deal with it. They were scraping for answers. It had to be racism. It had to be misogyny. It had to be, all these people who at last time had voted for Barack Obama suddenly became bigots, racists, homophobes, and misogynists. All of them suddenly, all 10 million of them, had suddenly decided to go off the deep end. It's ridiculous. And of course the globalists have taken the opportunity to send the useful idiots into the street the past couple of nights, and they're out there protesting in the major cities tonight, and even some of the mid-major cities tonight, like here in Tampa, saying that he's not that Trump's not their president. Well, what happened when in 2008 when President Obama won the presidency, and some conservatives were out there who were around the bend saying that President Obama wasn't their president, that they had taken the same stance that the Hillary Clinton campaign had taken, that President Obama couldn't be president because he wasn't a citizen. There was some backlash about that in the explanation from a lot of the pukes on CNN, all ignoring the fact they didn't forget, because they know that the whole birther thing that Donald Trump brought up 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, was started by his then friend Hillary Clinton. It was her campaign that brought all that up, that pushed that narrative. It wasn't the McCain campaign, and it damn sure wasn't the Tea Party movement that barely existed during the time. It was the Hillary Clinton campaign. So if, for some reason, CNN and Van Jones and the rest of those pukes are angry at Donald Trump and angry at the right, they need to go to their candidate and go, why did you bring that up to start with? There's an article out on Newsmax from Ed Klein. And Ed Klein was a guest on the Willie Lawson Show. And I put that on my Facebook page underneath this, the post from Newsmax, my show I did with Ed Klein early, 3 years ago. So we sort of foretold some of the things that we're talking about here today. Ed Klein wrote this article on Newsmax. Hillary Clinton couldn't stop crying once she learned of her loss to Donald Trump on Tuesday. Best-selling conservative author Ed Klein told Newsmax on Wednesday. About 6:30 this morning, she called an old friend. He began the on the Steve Malzberg show, an interview. She was crying inconsolably. She couldn't stop crying. Her friend said, her female friend from way back, it was even hard to understand what she was saying. She was crying so hard. This was Hillary. This is Hillary we're talking about, Ed Klein said. This is Hillary. She was, according to the story, that she was inconsolable. Inconsolable. Eventually, her friend said she could make out that she was blaming James Comey, the director of the FBI, for her loss. And I don't understand exactly the President of the United States for not doing enough. Ed Klein said his source then asked further about Barack Obama. She said that Hillary felt the president could have stopped Comey a long time ago, because that's what former President Bill Clinton said. Well, Bill said that Barack Obama could have stopped Comey a long time ago and didn't. Now, let's go back. This is so important. You see, people like Rush Limbaugh and Mark Levin claim that they're right all the time. They're not right all the time, but I am. I told you a long time ago that the Clintons and the Obamas are not friends. They've never been friends. Some of the things that the Clinton campaign brought up during the 2008 campaign, Michelle and Barack Obama have not forgotten. And there were times in this campaign early where quite frankly, Barack Obama kept his hands off of it. He could have stopped this whole thing much sooner on, but didn't. He didn't intervene in any of the FBI investigations. He didn't intervene in the last FBI investigation. He didn't say anything. He didn't. He actually, in the last quote investigation, end quote, which was nothing more than time to be distracted, to distract everyone away from the WikiLeaks drama that was happening at the time, actually praised the FBI for doing their job. It is the typical liberal, progressive, whiny ass that you get. Blame everybody but yourself. Not blaming that all her past foibles, all her past crimes were problematical. And simply apologizing was simply not going to be enough. Going to coal country and telling people that you were going to put them out of work, well, that was a dumbass move. That was just stupid. Waiting until the last few weeks of your campaign to start showing up in black churches. You know what? I'm sorry, saying stuff like you always keep hot sauce in your purse. That sounds like a Saturday Night Live line. That reminds me, I can see Russia from my house. Does that not remind you of the same sort of I can see Russia from my house? That should be some Tina Fey line on an episode of Saturday Night Live. From the 2008 campaign, I ain't no ways tired. Are you kidding me? Well, the fact of the matter is, Mrs. Clinton, that you were a horrific candidate. Your past, just like all of us, showed up and bit your campaign in the ass. Benghazi, email scandal, all of those chickens came home to roost. They did. And they cost you the election. Your crimes that you could not cover up cost you the election. You could not continue to cover these crimes up, and they cost you the election. And you may not ever be prosecuted for these crimes, but in the court of public opinion on Tuesday night, enough people found you guilty. Let's just understand, folks, friends. Although there are some of you who are dyed-in-the-wool, who are believers of Donald Trump from day one, I got you. I feel you. It's okay. You know, like I know, because you're smart, that a lot of what this vote was a protest vote against Hillary Clinton and the establishment that she represented. That's what a lot of this is. So this whole idea of people on Facebook, you know, and people on social media, even people who I consider friends, saying that this campaign, that this Trump campaign is based on racism and hate and all this sort of hyper emotional bullcrap. I mean, really hyper emotional Captain Snowflake bullcrap is not only not true, and that's not why you had the results. The results was that a lot of people saw Hillary Clinton as a liar. They saw her as dangerous. They saw her as mean. They saw her as somebody who would do anything to get elected. They saw her as having committed crimes that she thought because her name was Clinton that she didn't have to answer for, and people were pissed. They are tired of the elite class, the political class, getting a pass. They were tired of it, and they knew that a lot of people knew that Donald Trump was not the perfect candidate. He was not the perfect vessel for conservatism or even republicanism. They knew that, but there was no way that they could cast a ballot for lying Hillary Clinton. They just couldn't do it. It was your candidate that failed you. It was not America that failed you, Captain Cupcake, and your cellar dwelling snowflakes. It wasn't America that failed you. It was your candidate. It was the people who championed your trap. That's who failed you. The system of the left failed you. The individuals of the left failed you. The John Podestas, the Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the Hillary Clintons, the Bill Clintons. Those are the people that failed you. If you want to protest, don't go to Trump Tower and protest. Go to Chappaqua. Protest there. She is the one that failed you. Her sycophants, her surrogates, are the people that failed you. It wasn't Trump. It wasn't the Trump voters. It wasn't the Trump supporters. It was your own people. It was the people that put you in that situation to start with that failed you. And if you're honest with yourself just a little bit, if you can be honest with yourself just a little bit today, or whenever you're listening to this, what you'll have to admit to yourself is that you saw that happen. You saw what we're talking about. You saw what I'm talking about in the way the Democratic Party treated Bernie Sanders, one of their own. One of their own. But when he seemed to be getting in the way of the air of inevitability for Hillary Clinton, he had to be disposed of. There was no way that they could allow that to happen. So Debbie Wasserman Schultz continued to cook the books and made it very difficult for Bernie Sanders early to win a lot of the Democrat primaries. So much, in fact, that they didn't even deny it. She just quit and went to work for the Hillary Clinton campaign almost in the same breath. They didn't even deny it. So you have to, if you're going to be the least bit honest and the least bit adult, know that it was not Donald Trump supporters or voters that you should be angry with. It was the left. It was a complicit media that continued to push and promote and through lies and omissions not tell the truth about what was going on, especially in the Democratic primaries. Not give you the picture or the opportunity to choose your candidates. When there were polls early saying that Bernie Sanders in a head-to-head would defeat Donald Trump, the Democrat Party decided, oh hell no, this is Hillary's turn, and they were going to do their damnedest to circle the wagons around Hillary and shut out Sanders, and did just that. And when you saw that happen to the person that you supported, that you went out and you put bumper stickers on your car, you went to rallies, you used some of your trust fund money to support his campaign, and you saw what your own party bosses did, you had to know. I mean, you found out then that the fix was in. You had to know what kind of person that you were dealing with. You had to know. And when you found out, I get it. You couldn't come out for Donald Trump. You just couldn't come out for the other side. It was too much too soon. I get it. But some did. Not a lot, but some did. Some did. Some said, you know what, this is the kind of person Hillary Clinton is. This is how they do business. And I don't think anyone who does business like that should be in the White House, deserves to be in the White House. So it was not that so many people held Donald Trump up to this fabulous standard of this wonderful human being. No, that wasn't it. But quite frankly, when you do some comparison 1-to-1 on crimes leading to deaths, Hillary Clinton came up short. It was your failed candidate. It was your diseased candidate that cost herself the election. It was not bigotry or racism or misogyny or hatred or people being homophobes that cost the election. It wasn't any of that. It was that you had a pretty crappy candidate. You had a pretty crappy candidate, and you had a system on the Democrat side that pushed the crappiest candidate you had. I think personally Bernie Sanders is as batty as a bedbug, but I believe that he is honest. I believe that he believes what he says. I believe that he really has a heart for the nation. I think he's crazy. I think he's wrong. But I believe that crazy Uncle Bernie really cares. That he is not a criminal. I don't believe that he is a criminal. I believe that he really believes that these policies, these socialist policies, will actually benefit the nation. I think he's wrong, and I would have campaigned vehemently against him, purely on policy. But you got what you got, and the reason you got what you got because you got screwed by your own people. So if you're angry, if you're headed out to the streets to protest, who you should protest is Hillary Clinton, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, John Podesta. My name is Will Watson. We'll be back right after these messages. Listen, this show would not be possible if it weren't for our affiliate partners. If it wasn't for people like Gary Knight at New Homes Tampa Bay. If it weren't like Kevin Batts at theredriverchronicle.com. So it is getting near the end of the month, so let's talk about the Red River Chronicle. The Red River Chronicle is a website that is full of fantastic conservative articles, conservative educational tools. I think that that's the coolest thing. Spent 15 years in teaching in the public school system, and you know what? These educational tools are something that you can use yourself, that you can use in a classroom setting, that you can direct students to, sort of on the sly. Because it's, frankly, I think the battle is just like that. If you're working in the public school system, and you're in a social studies classroom, I use social studies because it's the easiest transition. And a student comes to you and says, "Where do I learn more about conservatives?" Well, the very first place you should send them is not townhall.com, is not the Rush Limbaugh site, or even the Willie Lawson show necessarily. You need to send them right to the redriverchronicle.com. Articles written in a scholarly way, primarily information about Oklahoma and Texas, but from a very conservative standpoint. And you know what? Kevin Batts is black, so that helps your students because that throws away and destroys the left's picture of who's supposed to be conservative. So you can also, on that site, that student will have access to Hillsdale College lectures, which I think are invaluable. Absolutely invaluable. And there's also an app that they can purchase. I did. It's all of 99 cents. I purchased it. It keeps you up to date with what's going on the redriverchronicle.com website. That's the redriverchronicle.com website. The finest in conservative information and education. You're tired of the cold? You're tired of the taxes? It's time to move to Florida. And our friend Gary Knight at New Homes of Tampa Bay is the perfect person to help you. You can just give Gary a call at 813-770-9452, or you can go to the website to look for your brand new home at www.newhomestpa.com. Move to Florida. It's about time. Nothing fits a home perfectly than a brand new grand piano. And if you're looking for a piano for your brand new home, you've got to visit Dave's Piano. And that's davespianoshowroom.com. If you're looking for the perfect thing to set off your new home, a piano is what you're looking for. And my friend Dave has the perfect piano for you. And the best thing about buying a piano from Dave is that he does everything. He delivers, he sets up, he tunes, he takes care of everything. The best part about Dave's Piano, quite frankly, is Dave. So when you buy a piano from Dave's Piano Showroom, you only deal with Dave. You can reach them at www.davespianoshowroom.com. That's davespianoshowroom.com.
Ex-Berkeley revolutionary, militant student, Vietnam era veteran, Vietnam veteran, businessman, father, black dude. I want to send a message to the black folks supporting Hillary. I attended the debate in St. Louis and I saw the Hillary supporters protesting. Most were black, 90% were black, and it broke my heart. The Democrats had called out their Negroes to work for them and then sent them back to the slave quarters until they're needed again. It broke my heart to see black folks supporting their abusers. Do you really want more of their schools, lack of jobs, dirty streets, no businesses, and more of your children in jail? Have you had enough of the drugs and the gangs? Well, don't worry. The Democrats are planning to replace you. Your loyalty to the Democrats have resulted in Hillary bringing in 500,000 refugees to replace you. When they get here, Democrats will no longer need you, and they're tired of feeding you, and will do to you what they've always done to you: destroy you. Democrats are already aborting 1,300 babies a day. That's more deaths of black folks than the Klans. That's more deaths in a week than the Ku Klux Klan has done to us since their existence. They're incarcerating you. They're pushing you into these schools that will not educate you. Why would any black person still support Democrats? It breaks my heart to see you all smiling and chanting your master slogans. But what are you doing today after the debates? How are your neighborhoods outside your door? Can you go outside tonight and sit on your front porch? Will your family be working tomorrow? Will you see those Democrats the day after the election? Whatever you are getting from Democrats, you will get more of it after the election. If you're tired of the lies, death, destruction, and neglect, join us. Freedom is a journey, but not a long one. But you must first throw off slavery. You must first throw off the shackles and vote for real freedom. You know in your heart who the Democrats are. They are the Confederate troops, the founders of the KKK, Jim Crow, White Citizens Council, segregation, and separate but equal. They invented lynching, whipping, and beatings. They're the ones controlling every black neighborhood in America. Name one you're pleased with. Name one thing the Democrats have done for you that you desire more of. Stop the abuse. You know who they are. They're your abusers and they hate you. I understand how you feel, but I don't understand how any black person can support their enemies. It is time for us to go to freedom. This election, let's throw off the chains, step into the light, and take control of our lives and take control of our freedom. You can only be free if you act like it. God made us free, not a servant. So why are we serving them? I'm Mason Weaver. I'm sorry if I offended you, but I love you. And I am you. And I want you to be free. Thank you very much.
That's Mason Weaver. Mason Weaver, somebody I follow on Facebook, and it is absolutely. I mean, he was absolutely on point, on target, with clarity. States the situation. And I like Mason Weaver because of where he came from. Mason Weaver came from by his own admission, a radical Black Panther Berkeley background. So, coming from that background, which is not my background, he has a different perspective and is able to see the same thing. So when I get posts that, how could you support Donald Trump? This is a campaign of hate and bigotry. The whole echo chamber of nonsense from Democrats. I mean, the entire echo. I mean, it's hate and bigotry, hate and bigotry, hate and bigotry. When there hasn't been any, the only hate and bigotry has been from the left. What are they doing tonight? Are they out there cleaning streets and helping old ladies across the street and painting houses? What are they doing tonight? They're out there blocking traffic, making it hard for people to get to work and get home from work, do what they need to do. They're out there burning trash cans, turning over cars, destroying private and public property. But out of love and compassion? No, out of hate, out of bigotry. That's what they're doing. So, I like Mason, and like I said, I'm going to throw the kitchen sink at you tonight. There's some others that will want to push to the front because that's what Fight Back Media is all about, pushing voices to the front. I want to take the same sort of mentality that Andrew Breitbart took. The idea was more voices, more voices, more voices. I want to play for you the message. Let's see. It's trying to see how long it is. It's not very long. That was done by the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, having to do with the election of Donald Trump. So it seems like we're about to get some of our major allies back as a country. So when Hillary Clinton is saying that she's going around the planet and people are, and these world leaders are afraid and blah, blah, you know what, Anna, maybe not, that's not exactly true. Let's see what Bibi has to say. I'm going to click some buttons here.
President-elect Trump, my friend, congratulations on being elected President of the United States of America. You are a great friend of Israel. Over the years, you've expressed your support consistently, and I deeply appreciate it. I look forward to working with you to advance security, prosperity, and peace. Israel is grateful for the broad support it enjoys among the American people, and I'm confident that the two of us, working closely together, will bring the great alliance between our two countries to even greater heights. May God bless America. May God bless Israel. May God bless our enduring alliance. President-elect.
Well, it seems like Bibi is looking forward to working with Donald Trump. Well, it seems like anyway. It doesn't seem like Bibi is thinking that Donald Trump is this hate-filled bigot that's got a whole bunch of hate-filled bigots. I mean, on the track, and I'm using hate-filled bigots because I just got an email message from somebody that I know. I mean, not an email message, a Facebook message. I posted this a few hours ago. 3 hours ago. Where are all the Respect the Office people from 2008 and 2012? Remember? You should respect the office. You should respect the office. Remember that? Yes. As somebody I know, right? Are you kidding? You are kidding, right? This is an entirely different election with all the hatred and bigotry. What hatred and bigotry? Thanks to the GOP not stopping, I guess you was trying to write Donald Trump or DT, when they had a chance. They were willing to do anything to win. Morons. Hate. anger. Just such uncontrolled, unbridled anger. It's a shame. It's butthurt. It is butthurt on a gargantuan level. And there's no respect the office. No. There isn't any hate from the right. There hardly ever is. You know? I had somebody I've known for a while on my Facebook page after I said some things, and I'll play. It's only about a minute and a half of what I said this morning. And I'll read some of the comments that are on this Facebook post to you. I told you I'm going to throw the whole kitchen sink at you tonight. The whole thing. The sink, the underneath, the pipes, everything. And get it all out tonight as much as we can. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and play the audio of video that I made this morning. First thing, got out of bed, went outside, and made this video. Oh, Jesus! At some point, this has got to stop. Let's see here if I can get this to play, and click the button. This is not going to make me popular, but for the people I'm talking to, I wasn't popular anyway. Listen. If you are upset about the election of Donald Trump as president, I had a couple of questions for you. Do you have any idea what the president actually is supposed to do? Do you have any idea what the president's actual role is? Do you have any clue as to how government in the United States actually is supposed to work? Well, probably not, because the only president that you've ever paid attention to has been a Barack Obama. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of his presidency and his actions in the White House is exactly how the government is not supposed to work. So I guess that you would have something to fear if Donald Trump was going to behave just like Barack Obama. Yeah, I guess you would have something to fear. But the fact of the matter is that Donald Trump is going to act more like the president should act, following the rules the president should follow. So, let me help you. You've got nothing to fear. Go about your business. Do your job. Grind like you've been grinding, and what you're going to find is that your life is going to be better because the opportunities will be greater. Stop whining. Get back to school. Get back to work. All right. Now, you would think that you would think that I had said something, I don't know, crazy, right? That video's got 254 views, and you can go to my Facebook page. Just type in Willie Lawson, and you'll see my picture. I'm beautiful, and it's got 254 views. It's been shared. It's been shared a couple times, 16 times. So it's getting views. I don't know if it'll get 1,000 views this weekend or not, but some people said my sense of humor is still intact. Somebody else says, I always enjoy Mr. Willie Lawson. Respect, wisdom will prevail. My friend Pam Hill said, amen. Tornado Green Foster said, man, Willie Lawson, you make me wonder about you. ... And I just responded with the picture of Snoopy being Joe Cool. My friend Kenny Boone said, my friend Willie Lawson, you are my hero of the week. I'm not a hero. But I'm not afraid to speak. I am not afraid to speak out in the same places where the left is speaking out. I am not afraid to take the lead, use my platform to speak out and not be so reactionary. I think that's part of the problem. I think that those of us on the right are always reacting to what people on the left are saying. A lot of people say, well, I like to watch MSNBC to see what they're saying. I never watch them some bitches because I don't care what they're saying. Because now all we're doing then is reacting to their narrative. Screw that. If we have the narrative of the truth, let's spend all our time and energy pushing that narrative. of the truth. Let them start responding to us. Now I'm going to take a break, but I'm going to get back and I'm going to tell you a story how I'm now sure, I am positive that that's the way that we have to go moving forward for at least the next 4 years, especially as it comes to the press and the direction of the narrative of the truth, of how we must do it. We must do it. We'll be right back, right after these messages. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Fight Back Show, the Fight Back program, the flagship program of fightbackmedia.com. We'll be right back, right after these messages. It's all the rage to call and order flowers from 1-800-whatever, or go online and order them from some nameless, faceless person on the other end. I'm saying you should do something different. You should, before doing that, call my friends at Blooming Days Flower Shop, located right here in Tampa, Florida, at 11618 North Florida Avenue, 33612. Christine and her staff don't look at just the order. They look at the customer. They look at your occasion. They consider the entire person, the entire occasion, before making decisions about design and price. You're more than just a customer. You're a friend. Call our friends at Blooming Days Flower Shop, toll free, at 1-800-330-3297. 1-800-330-3297. Local, 813-971-5947. 813-971-5947. You can reach them on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. You're tired of the cold? You're tired of the taxes? It's time to move to Florida. And our friend Gary Knight at New Homes of Tampa Bay is the perfect person to help you. You can just give Gary a call at 813-770-9452, or you can go to the website to look for your brand new home at www.newhomestpa.com. Move to Florida. It's about time. Information is crucial when you're looking to purchase a new home. With so many choices of communities and options, choosing the right one for you and your family can be a daunting task. That's why you need to go to New Homes of Tampa Bay right now, www.newhomestpa.com, and get the information you need. Learn how people save thousands of dollars when purchasing new homes. Buy like the pros. New Homes Tampa Bay, www.newhomestpa.com. All right, we're back. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Fight Back program this evening, or whenever you're listening. We appreciate it. Listen, if you want to know more about Fight Back Media, go to fightbackmedia.com. That's fightbackmedia.com, and learn more about what we're doing and what we're trying to do and what our mission is. We really appreciate that. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. I don't know. I'm probably doing 3 or 4 videos, short videos every single day. So there's always new content there. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Fight Back Media. We'd appreciate that. You know, every ear, every eye is important. So thank you again for your continued support and your help and your donations and all that stuff. You know, it is about the narrative and who pushes it and who's reacting to it and who is not reacting. You know, I had a chance, thanks to my friend Eddie Adams Jr., to be a part of a thing called Porch Talk Radio. It is his show that they put together for it was on WGOL, 860 WGOL, I think it was after my show was on. After my show went off there, they had a show, and it was on for a while, and it basically left the air there for the very same reason mine did, finances. But we revived the show as a television program on the public access channel here in town, and that was, golly, almost 3 years of Porch Talk Radio on TV. And then during election season, we had a chance to revive the radio program and put it on WTMP, 1150 WTMP, which is the one of the urban radio stations here in Tampa. And we were on probably 6 weeks before the election. The last show was last week, last Saturday. And it was interesting. We had been on 4 weeks or so, and then the 2 weeks before the end of the election, we found out that there was a show that was coming on after, a talk show coming on after ours. It had been the first 4 weeks we were on that there was no show after ours. That even the engineer left, put the station on the radio station on automatic pilot. And if you know anything about radio, a lot of stations are on automatic pilot. A lot of stations are on a computer automation thing, and there's nobody there, especially on the weekend. There's nobody in the office. There aren't any engineers or DJs there. Most of the things that you hear are all computerized and pre-recorded, and the station just runs. Some of the engineers have the responsibility of listening into the radio station while they're at home in case there's a problem, and they can go fix it. But for the most part, you click the station, you turn it over to the computer, and it runs it. As a matter of fact, at WTMP, there's a Spanish station on FM that runs out of there that is running from a rack of computers. There's no DJs. There's nobody there doing anything. It runs from a rack of computers. Their signs on this. Their contact information is on the sign outside the building, but you can't find anybody from that radio station there. It's only computer only. So doing this stuff on the internet, I go, this isn't unlike how regular radio is. Everything's done on the computer anyway. Anyway, there was nobody after us until a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now. And we found out that it was the Democrats. The Democrat Party of Hillsborough County had decided that they were going to have a show and highlight their candidates. They reacted to what we were doing. We were pushing a narrative, especially right there where they had a stranglehold in the urban community for the past 70 years. And how dare these Republicans, especially these black Republicans, you know what I'm saying? These black Republicans start pushing a different narrative that was basically being unchallenged. So for the last 2 weeks, the Democratic Party of Florida decided that they were going to push their narrative. They actually reacted. Now, this is why it's important it was important to be proactive and not reactive. It's important to push the narrative of truth and let the Democrats react. Let the liberals react, because what we're going to find out is that they're always going to react the same way. They're always going to react saying, you know what, this is all about hate and bigotry, hatred and bigotry. And when this is what we found out, and what I talked about earlier in his program, is that this whole Captain Cupcake and Captain Snowflake and the Cupcakes routine about hatred and bigotry just wore thin, and nobody believed it. Even a lot of black people didn't believe that this was about bigotry. This was about hatred. Nobody believed that. It went on long enough till some people could do their own research and said it has nothing to do with that. It has, for most people, it had to do with their conditions, the condition of their community, the condition of their own personal finances, the condition of their schools. And I said, God, I wish I could remember who I said it to. I said, you know what? If Donald Trump were to mention school choice, he would win this election. And I'll be doggone, because Donald Trump listens to Fight Back Media. I don't know if he does or not. He starts talking about school choice. Bingo, bango, bongo. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's what this was about. It wasn't about anything else. And it's too bad that a lot of the people who are sycophants and surrogates of the left refuse to admit it. It isn't like they don't know. I will not give them the pass to say that they don't know, because they do know. I will not give them the pass to say, well, they don't know, or they've forgotten, or they can't see it. That's bullcrap. They know. They just refuse to say it. They know. They're not stupid. They understand that this campaign had nothing to do with any of the things that they've been told to say as part of the echo chamber. It's not about hate. It's not about bigotry. It's not about sending all the Mexicans back to Mexico and all the black people back to Africa. It's not about repealing gay marriage. It wasn't about any of that stuff. It was about there are a lot of people in this country who feel like, you know what, that their American dreams have been delayed because of the policies of the current president. This was a repudiation of the Barack Obama presidency of 8 years. This was a repudiation of the left's agenda for the past 8 years. This was a repudiation of things like the Affordable Care Act, where people are being forced to buy by the federal government to buy a product that, first of all, they don't want, and second of all, can't afford. That's what this was. This was a repudiation of the continually overstepping of federal government, completely out of their lane most of the time of the presidency of Barack Obama. That's what this was. Has nothing to do with hate, has nothing to do with bigotry, has nothing to do with racism. It doesn't have anything to do with what the left normally, their normal go-to stuff is. And their normal go-to stuff is hate, bigotry, misogyny, homophobia, Islamophobia, all that stuff. And it had nothing to do with that. Now, here's my advice to those of us on the right. Just like you do, and I'm going to characterize this in a really disrespectful way. I know that, but I want you to get it. Here's where communication is more important than professionalism. No matter how much they whine, no matter how much they stamp their feet, no matter how many tantrums they throw, because this is what they do. Ignore them. Stay focused. Stay focused on freedom. Stay focused on liberty. Stay focused on prosperity. Just like you ignore the child throwing a tantrum, and you stay focused on the things that are going to benefit you and eventually that child, that's exactly what we have to do. We cannot be led down rabbit trails trying to appease and appease those that really just want to take control. It's like being in a car and having a crying child want to take the wheel. So to keep them from crying, you give them the wheel. We cannot be bullied or cry bullied into moving back into a direction that we know is not beneficial for ourselves, our families, our communities, or our country. My name is Willie Lawson. I'm the founder of Fight Back Media group, and you can reach us at fightbackmedia.com. Go to fightbackmedia.com and sign up on our mailing list, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Fight Back Media. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you.
Chief Rain, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
The Pinky and the Brain, yes, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane. They're laboratory mice, their genes have been sliced. They're Pinky They're Pinky and the Brain, 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 brain. Before each night is done, their plan will be unfurled by the dawning of the sun. They'll take over the world. They're Pinky and the Brain. Yes, Pinky and the Brain. Their twilight campaign is easy to explain. To prove their mousy worth, they'll overthrow the earth. They're Pinky and the Brain, 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 brain.